Thank you, everyone. I'm glad you're here. I just want to say one quick little thing about how I discovered Romy's work. So scrolling through Twitter, and I followed some links. I found her website, and I found her photography. And not only is she an accomplished artist, she's an amazing photographer as well. And I thought that it would be a really interesting story. So Romy Reiner is going to tell you her story, The Art of the Amateur. So come on up.
Thank you. Hey everyone. I'm Romy. I just want to start off by saying that I literally have no experience talking in front of more than 3 people, so please bear with me, and if you want to leave, that's fine. So, yeah, I was born in LA, raised in California, and so I went to a really artsy high school, and I went to college for about a month, I'll say a month and a half, and it didn't really work out. So, yeah, I guess you could say I'm not really an artist, like, formally, because I haven't had the training, but I make art, so you can decide for yourself if you think that's true. All right, so yeah, I feel like if I were becoming a doctor or a lawyer, I would have to go to school for that, You'd need to learn how to do those things, but I think with art, in my opinion, you don't really need to go to school. And yeah, I've been making art, I think, since I was a little kid. My mom is a professional photographer. She's back there, and so is my dad. Hi. And yeah, I think when I grew up, she always had cameras around, and I didn't necessarily love having my photo taken, but the first time I started taking photos was when I went to Africa. I was fortunate to go to Africa going from 5th to 6th grade, so I was about 11 or 12 years old, and that's where I'm going to start today. So yeah, I guess it's not really in order in terms of timeline, but I'm going to start with the first photos that I took. So we're going to start here. So this you might recognize from some of the promo stuff, and this is the photo that's going to be given out later today if you want it. So, yeah, we went to Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda, and it was just a really cool experience. Pretty much, I had never been to a place like this. I had lived in a city my whole life, and going out into nature really opened my eyes, and I think that's where my love for photographing nature started. So there's an elephant. So yeah, what happened was my mom lent me one of her big cameras to use on this trip, and I had no idea how to use it. So the autofocus was on, and I just had to click the button to take the photo. I didn't really know anything about settings of a camera or, ISO or anything like that. I just took the photos of what I saw. And I'll be honest, I really don't know a lot about camera settings to this day. I just think it muddies the experience of taking a photo for me personally. I don't need to know all the technical intricacies to take a photo. I think many people would disagree with that. So yeah, let's move on to the next photo. I don't usually take photos of people, just because it's hard to make people look good. But I found that the people here they just had a lot of soul, like more soul than anyone I've seen in Los Angeles. So I ended up taking photos of people there, and I do take candids of people, but yeah, we saw some zebras, and I tend to take photos that aren't like the typical photo of something. So this is a giraffe, but you're like, what part of it, So I just think it's interesting to focus on details. This was taken in Uganda. This was actually in a place called the Impenetrable Forest. And it took about 4.5 hours. It was a round trip 7-hour hike. to find these gorillas, and I thought my dad was going to die. It's a short story. It was really rough. It was like up like that. It was like vertical, and there were little men pushing us on our butts up the hill, and to get to this. So it was, an experience. White people hiking in Africa. So, yeah, that was cool. And this wasn't, that important, but there was one moment where, I'm tiny at this point. I'm like 11 or 12. I mean, I'm not tiny. I'm like here. And there was a silverback gorilla that charged me in this forest, and the guy that was guiding us had a machete and didn't hurt the gorilla, but he kind of scared him off. So yeah, it was kind of a weird experience, but we ended up finding gorillas, and they're amazing animals. This one, I don't know what he's thinking, but he's clearly confused. Okay. Come on, look at that baby. I mean, yeah, I don't love children, but that baby's really cute. So, yeah, I don't ever take photos of babies, but this one really spoke to me. I mean, yeah, come on. So this is an interesting one. This is kind of similar. It was taken at the same time as that first image. And I think this is what started. I have more in the later in this presentation, but I like to focus on silhouettes. So this photo is, the trees with the background. And so I have a lot more of that coming. There's a lion just sleeping with flies on its nose. Here's another child. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to have to say you can kind of figure what they are. This is actually, it's interesting because it could have been taken anywhere, but it was also in Africa. And I think there was a hippo under there. I don't know, but I just thought it was interesting. Yeah, just the majesty of these people that you don't always find in people standing in LA like that or anywhere else. Sorry, I kind of went fast. There's a goat. There's another person. And this is another shot of that impenetrable forest. So there was not really a pathway. You kind of just whacked leaves around to get through. So that's interesting. Okay, so now we're out of Africa and we're in Malibu, and Malibu, California, Los Angeles, whatever it is. So here's the deal. My mom and dad, every morning when it's sunny out, they say, it's such a beautiful day. And I don't get it because it's every day, like in LA is that. So it doesn't seem beautiful to me because it's every day. So when there are days like this where it's gloomy and, stormy, that's when I get inspired. So this was a photo taken at the beach one day, and I like it. So this is also taken at the beach. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, there's 2 sailboats. Yep. This is, continuing that idea of having, nature framing your photo, or also having it be the wallpaper almost kind of looking like that. So I enjoyed that. I'm not exactly sure where I took this. It's terrible. Oh, yeah. Same kind of deal here where it kind of just looks like wallpaper, but it's trees and the sky. And this was the other thing I meant to say at the beginning, which is that every photo that is in this presentation has not been edited. So this looks black and white, but it was just that was the kind of day it was. So yeah, I don't really believe in editing photos from me personally. I think you can do whatever you want, but I just like seeing what I saw and then having that be something that I show to people. That's kind of hard to see. That's in Switzerland, and yeah, there's a little snowy mountain behind there. This was also taken in Los Angeles a few years ago. I'd say this is like 4 years ago. Yeah, it's kind of different. Actually, this was taken in, this was obviously a black and white photo. So I did edit that. But it wasn't edited, it was on the camera. I don't know if makes a difference, but anyway, so I'm going to take my jacket off because I'm getting warm up here. Getting ready. Just going to, there it goes. Oh, you don't have to do that. Thank you. It could have been okay on the floor too. So clearly, when I got back to LA from Africa, I didn't have like zebras and things like that to photograph on a daily basis. So I started taking photos of flowers in my backyard. And I had a friend who also was into photography in like 6th, 7th grade. And we would just walk around the neighborhood and take photos of flowers. And it seems funny now, but it was like we were really into that when I was like 13. So yeah, this was one of the first ones I took back at home. And they're kind of interesting because it looks like they're just taken against a black backdrop, but they're not. Yeah, these are all in LA, these photos. I'm not like a huge flower person. Like I like flowers, but it's not something that I'm like passionate about. So, but I really do enjoy taking photos of them for some reason. They kind of look like apple backgrounds, some of them. But they're interesting, I guess. I like them, that's what I'll say. And for the rare times that it does rain in LA, I love taking photos after that, when there's raindrops on the flowers. And I did not put water on these flowers in any of these, so keep that in mind. Yeah, I just think it's really interesting. I'm not going to say anything about every flower. I don't know if it's necessary, but I'm just going to keep going. Yeah. So that's cool. And I always see flowers from the front, so I started taking more from the back. And I guess these were hanging down. They were like drooping, so I like that too. That's cool to me. The thing you'll learn about me in this entire thing that I'm doing up here is that I don't have a lot of like philosophical or spiritual reasonings behind my art. I just do it, okay? You just take the photo, it looks cool, like it. So that's my motto. This is a butterfly. I don't know if you could see. And yeah, beautiful nature. I love nature. But I also really don't because bugs really scare me. But I do love it. It's beautiful. So this was taken in Montana. I started working for an interior designer in LA. I guess I'll say his name. Yeah, his name is Michael Smith. He did the like Obama White House. He decorated that. And he asked me to start helping him out with some shoots. And he made a house in Montana. And this was the view from the house. So that's crazy. Like that's a place I want to live if ever I could. All right. We're switching gears now, and we're in Canada now. So I went to Canada, I think it was around 2012 with my parents and another family that I know, and this was in Churchill in Manitoba. So there's polar bears that live there, which is crazy. And this was just in the wild, and we took one of those big buses, and it was like really beautiful, but it was really sad because I yeah, they're dying, quite frankly. And they were really thin, and there was pretty much no snow there. And these photos make it look really nice, but it was kind of sad, to be honest. And polar bears are probably my favorite animals. I don't know why, they've always been. They're just really cute. I mean, I'm sure they're not that cute when you're like, right next to them, but they're so cute. So yeah, I was really happy to be able to see them in person in the wild. Here again is another one of those detail shots that I like to do. This is just the fur. They're so cute. I don't know. I really like them. I'm just going to get some water. So this is actually funny. It looks like they're hugging, but they were actually fighting. Yeah, hold on one sec. This is more when they were fighting. I'm not sure if it was over food or a girl or something, but they were jealous and petty and were fighting with each other. Okay, so this is funny. I went to Thailand in 2014. I volunteered at this elephant sanctuary where it was just a place where they would take in like abused elephants from different circuses or places where the elephants were either like physically hurt or just worked to the bone. And this place is really amazing, and it's in Chiang Mai. And I didn't really have my real camera there. Not my real, but like my digital camera. So I took these on my phone. But I think now you're not allowed to touch them anymore there. But when I was there about 4 or 5 years ago, we were able to bathe them and like feed them and literally pick up their poop. It was so big. Have you guys ever seen elephant poop? It was bigger than my head. I have a tiny head, but this circle and just shoveling so much poop. It was great though. Like I would do it again. And also while we were there, this was a little bit different. This was a kind of also a sanctuary for tigers, but it was weird. We got to like hug them and pet them. I think they were maybe sedated. I don't know. But either way, they were in a nice place and, they were cute. But yeah, so this was taken on my phone too. I just think elephants, I'm just really into animals in general, so I love being around them. This is a random photo that I took that was in Jamaica once. My friend's birthday, and we went to Jamaica, and I just thought this was a really sweet photo. Couldn't tell you what's happening, but it seems like a sister and a brother situation. Okay, fast forward. This is Cuba. I went to Cuba a few years ago, and I didn't take that many photos there, but what I did take was interesting because you'd be in a place like this, and then 10 minutes later you'd be in just like a city. So it was a really interesting place. Can't really go there anymore. Thank you, Trump. So I got to go when it was good. It wasn't good, but when you could go more easily. Like I said, I don't gravitate towards taking photos of people, but these women were at this museum and they were just sitting on this little ledge, and I just thought they were so sweet. And I asked if I could take a photo, and this is what they did. It's like a love story, but they're probably not lovers, but like it could be, Anyway. And here's the the famous cars that they have there. I really love the way it looks. This is from a balcony. So yeah. And I don't always take photos of, architecture or things like that. but this was an opera house I think it was an opera house, I'm pretty sure, in Cuba. And yeah, it's interesting. And of course, the cars there were amazing. And it's not like special. Like everyone has, cool cars there. This was also, again, in that foresty place, which was kind of depressing. Like, I'll be honest, it was filled with trash and for some reason, a lot of bones. Like chicken bones everywhere, I remember. That was weird. You just kind of walked around them. And this woman, I usually, when I take photos of people, I ask permission, but since I was in another car, I just took her photo. I think she'd be okay with it. It's a cute photo. So everything we've seen, except for those 2 elephant photos from Thailand up until now, have been all digital. So now we're going to get into my film part of today, which is interesting. I like film. It's cool looking. A lot of times things can come out messed up with film, but I'll show you some of the stuff that came out good. So this is New York. Yes. This, I don't know where it's over, but this is clearly in a plane somewhere. Black and white film. So this is in Utah. This is a church. And I'm not partnered with the church. I'm not doing what if I just started a presentation now to try and like get you guys all to become part of the Latter-day Saints? Like, this is never mind with that one. This I just thought was a cool photo. It's insane. It's just in the middle of the city. It's like this, looks like Disneyland almost, but not probably. So this was on I never wanted to go to college, but I did go on a college trip to tour all the colleges because that's what they told you. You have to go to school. So my high school. So this was in Savannah, Georgia. And we visited a school there for art. And I remember I got more out of art in the place than I did the school when I visited. So I had a great time like exploring the city, and this was a cool park. It's just beautiful there. This is my friend. Her name's Ashley, and this was on her roof in Los Angeles. I just thought it was, an interest. It's posed, so that's rare. That's a weird one for me, but I thought it was interesting. And so this is weird, but I always take around with me like a little disposable camera. So just to have, because they're really lightweight and easy to use. This was taken at Disneyland a long time ago. And I just found it the other day. It's interesting. I kind of like the relationship. I was told there's a button on here. Yeah. Okay. Between these 2 people, I feel like she's really into him and he like doesn't know it. But he should, because I can tell that there's something there. And, it's just a cute photo of like teenage or preteen love. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they're siblings. I don't know. Weird. So this is also at Disneyland. This is It's a Small World or whatever. Really don't recommend this ride. But, it's just me. This was back in Savannah. I saw these 2 people. This is 2 photos, yeah, but I just put them together because it's kind of like a series, I guess. But it's these 2 people that I saw on these benches. They were just so kind and sweet in this, and I did ask if I could take both of their photos, so that's kind of posed, I guess. But yeah, I was into that. And this is also back in Utah, with cherry blossoms, I'm assuming. Yeah. They're pretty. All I can say. They're good looking flowers. So this is on the way to Joshua Tree in California. It's weird. It looks kind of, it's interesting. I don't know. So this is my cousin jumping into a pool, and it's a weird photo because it looks just like stuck in time, kind of. I feel like you could just like pick up his body and like place it in other places. It's weird, but I'm kind of into it. So yeah. This is also in Savannah, kind of jumping back and forth from things. Gorgeous trees. This was in New Orleans. This was a guy who was a painter, and just before he started his, I guess, next painting, I got this shot, which I think is interesting. More trees. Yeah. I just really love shooting nature and trees and stuff like that. So anytime I see something like this, and, not to bring it up again, but LA isn't the prettiest city, in my opinion, in certain places. So when I get to go to other places, especially here, it's so filled with beauty that you just have to take photos. So I don't know who this is, but he's a cutie, and I love dogs so much. So whenever I see a cute dog, I like to take a photo of it. This is in Paris. I feel like I don't have to explain all of these are just photos. This was actually interesting because it was like 2 weeks after when Notre Dame burned. It was all blocked off and there was police still there. So I thought this was kind of an interesting. And this is another dog. This dog I do know. This dog is named Moses, and he's dead, unfortunately. But he's so cute, and I love that dog. So now the film is over, and we're back. So I started taking photos of interior stuff for this guy that I'm working for, and I'm not going to show a ton about it because it's not something I'm that passionate about, but I do have a link I can show you guys. I mean, I don't have it on here, but I can tell you where to look at all the other interior stuff that I've done. But yeah, crazy apartment. This was in Madrid. And I took a lot of photos, but I didn't want to put them all in here. This is actually the house that was in Montana. So this is the interior side of that house. I don't know if I agree with the decorating, but I had to take photos of it. So that's always fun. This was, there was a town and country shoot that I was asked to do behind the scenes stuff for background. So I don't know where these photos went, but it was a crazy house. I mean, that's the view from the kitchen. So imagine making toast to that. That's crazy. And the kitchen was it was really cool. It was rustic, but also modern. And yeah, I could live there. And so this was the outside. It had a huge terrace kind of balcony thing where you could see kind of over there. There's chairs and stuff. And then this is the table. I think I put a wide shot of it. But yeah, it was huge, this house. I mean, I think 2 people live there. I don't know. It's weird. But there was 6 bedrooms and yeah. Cool. And this is the bathroom. So that's the bathtub. Yeah, I'm not a bath taker, but I guess I would if that was the view. Yeah, so here's the wide shot of that table that's outside. It's crazy. And I feel like these people just put on their skis and just go. I don't know where they go. They just go down the mountain. But it's crazy. It's amazing. These are more of the cabinets. It's really a cool concept to have just glass on glass outside. So it's not just a cabinet. I think that's a cool design piece to the house. So this house is the one that I'm documenting the entire renovation of this house in Los Angeles. And this is what it started out as. I didn't put the rest in here, but they're pretty much tearing down the whole thing. I don't know why, but yeah, people with money tend to just do that. Not sure. This is the other dog. Hard life for that dog. So yeah, moving on. So this is Miley Cyrus. For those of you who don't know who that is, this is a singer, pop star, Hannah Montana person. And I was lucky enough to be able to photograph her in her concert. This was like her Bangers tour. I don't know if you guys know that album. Anyway, I like going to concerts, and I've always loved taking photos at concerts, but you can't bring in like a real camera if you're just gonna go and hang out there. So you had to get like credentials and all that to be able to really go up close and have a camera there. So I'd never done anything like this before, but it was really cool. Like, it's hard too because they're just moving the whole time. So you have to just find those moments where it seems like it's still, but it's really not. And the costumes and the set design and all that was just a lot of like stimulation overload, but it was cool to watch. And she's crazy, and she does a lot of fun stuff on the stage. She would also do this, where she would like take water and then spit it out on people. Like, that's what they wanted, which is weird. But it was cool anyway. And just like the crazy outfits, and yeah, I went to 2 of them to photograph, so I think this is between the 2 different ones that I found these ones. Yeah, that was clearly like a black and white photo. And her background dancers were just amazing, just all different types of people, and yeah, it was. I would do it again. I would love to be able to take photos for concerts and stuff like that. There you go. There's a shot of her butt. And there's more of, I just thought this lighting was kind of cool. And I guess I was pretty close, but I didn't get dripped on. Thank God. I don't want that from anyone. So, let alone Miley. So there. And this was kind of like the end of the show, which was just like lasers everywhere. She walked away. So now we're done with that part, and here we're going on to Iceland, which I was able to go to Iceland this past winter, and it was insane. It was like one of the craziest places I've ever been. I mean, it was similar to here because in certain parts of it, it looks like you're on a different planet almost. So this photo I started with because it's the only film photo I took there. So we were on this highway, and there were just horses like randomly around this place, and they were very fluffy. And I asked if we could stop, and my digital camera just stopped working fully. I don't know why, but it just wasn't working. So I took this on a disposable, and I actually liked the way it turned out. It was interesting. But yeah, so this place was really cinematic. I feel like you could shoot like a nice horror film there or something. But yeah, it was just nothing. There was like nothing there. This was probably the coolest place in my opinion. It was called Black Sand Beach, and this is not a black and white photograph. It's what it looked like. So, it's weird to be in a place where it looks like you're like seeing only black and white, and this is just it. And yeah, there was just like, it just was so grand. That's like the word I can use to kind of explain. It was just really grand there. Yeah, this is kind of where it looks like another world almost. It's hard to see this up. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's hard. But there were these rock formations that I don't know the name of. Someone could look them up. I could have looked them up, but it's irrelevant. It was just kind of cool looking. Um, and I just love the way the mountains looked there because, you know, it's all volcanic rock. And so it's like kind of black. And then when the snow is on top of it and it fades down into the black, I think it's magical. I'll say it's magical. Yeah, that's the word I'm going to use. So yeah, I just love the way that looks. That's my background on my computer. For those of you that wanted to know. This is the underside of those rocks. Basalt? Cool. Yeah, that's what it is. This is more of that black sand beach. And the crazy thing about it was the guy who was, you know, guiding us around Iceland told us that lots of people have died here and have been swept away by, you know, the ocean. It doesn't look that menacing here, but it was really strong and powerful. And it hit my leg a little bit, and it almost took my mom away. Thank God it didn't. But it was pretty crazy. It was a crazy place. And obviously the glaciers and stuff. But I mean, it's sad. They should be a lot bigger than that. I think a lot of what I've learned from traveling around in the last few years is that things that are supposed to be a certain way are not because of global warming and things like that, and climate change. So it was really cool to see, but they were smaller, I think, than they used to be or had broken off from bigger pieces. This is also at the Black Sand Beach. It really was eerie. It was like kind of creepy, and there were just so many birds. I don't know why, and I don't know what they were doing, but they were flying around. Okay, I take it back. This is probably my favorite place in Iceland. It's called Diamond Beach. I think there's another word for it, obviously, in the other language, but I'm going to just say it's called Diamond Beach, and it's this crazy place because it's so cold there. These ice structures are just like laying on the beach, and they don't melt, and so they break off from the glaciers, and they're just here for everyone to take photos of, I guess. So that was beautiful. And it's also, they have the black sand here, so it kind of creates a really cool contrast. And I also think it's interesting to take photos of nature with also man-made stuff in the way, I guess. But it kind of looks nice here. It's not so encroaching. So this is also part of that Black Sand Beach, but this was up further. So yeah, it's crazy. It's fully just looks black and white. And this is more of that Diamond Beach area. Amazing. It was freezing there. And these were little animals that we saw. We didn't see that many animals in Iceland, and most of the time they were pretty standoffish, which really upset me because I like being close to animals. And so this was like kind of the only real good shot I got of these guys. This is another mountain. And I don't know if any of you guys watch Game of Thrones, but is that a yes? Oh, cool. So a lot of the stuff, not a lot, but some of it was filmed in Iceland. And so it was cool to see. I don't know if you'll recognize any of it, but it was cool to see the landscape of Game of Thrones there. And this is another piece of ice. Yep, there's a road. And again, more of that beach, which was crazy. Yeah. Another mountain. In that first photo, not the horse, but the one of just the white, everything could have been like the wall type stuff from Game of Thrones. I don't know. So, okay, so here's the last photo of the entire thing. Okay? Now, I'm going to go and talk a little bit about some of my artwork that I've made, because I do photography, but I paint and I draw and stuff like that. So let's get into it. So this is the first painting I ever did, which is weird. I don't know what's really going on here. It's, you can see like the bodies kind of mimicking each other, and I guess I played around with texture and like mixing paints and blending and stuff like that. I guess was just trying to see what my style was at that time. I think this was about 9th grade. So yeah. But then once I kept on painting, I started doing more abstract stuff. I guess the first was pretty abstract too, but this is just kind of colors and random. This is oil paint. This is acrylic. And this is watercolor. And so, yeah, I just did a lot of painting and drawing in high school. I sadly haven't painted in a little while. I'm not sure why, but yeah, so these are some of the earlier paintings. Yeah. Weird stuff, kind of inspired by like the ocean and the sky and things like that. But just kind of blending. And I think when I started a painting, I never had in mind what I wanted it to be. I just kind of went, and then, some would say, oh, that's not finished. I don't know. I would just stop and be like, okay, that's good. Here we are. And then I started working a lot with gesso and stuff like that, which is like, how do I explain? It's like kind of paint, but then it dries hard, like plastic almost, I guess. So I would do it creates texture and stuff like that. But yeah, this is hanging in my aunt's house. That's a fact. I think I gave it to her. And yeah, I'm really into just like reds and blues and blacks and pretty simple colors. I don't really venture out into anything wild. I think there are some more crazier things coming up, but like this, like all that white stuff, like here, that's all gesso stuff, and then it dries and then you can paint over it. So that's cool. I kind of miss painting when I look at this. This is a weird one. I don't really know what happened here. I think I like spilled something and then it ended up that, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. It looks like a person. And then those lines like that and these are with a fork. Yeah, with a fork. Okay. And this is like weird. This is weird stuff that I don't know. It's very different than most of my other stuff. So this is interesting. I'm just really interested in blending, and yeah. This was all done between like 9th and 10th or 11th-ish grade, I feel like. This is watercolor. So, yeah. And then, I started incorporating like my drawings into the painting. And I didn't put all my stuff in these slides, but this is interesting. This is all charcoal. So I was just experimenting on how to use it and stuff like that. So this is like pen. I drew the little person with pen, and then the rest is charcoal. So yeah. So then I started really getting into like the human form and stuff like that. And I think if you remember the first painting that I did, there were like those two women figures, very thin, and then I realized like it's really boring to paint or draw thin people because there's so much more to explore with people that have more to them. Not that thin people are bad, but I find it personally more interesting to explore these kinds of bodies. And there is a thin person lifting up that body. So you get the best of both worlds. This, so all this stuff in the background, that's pen, and then this is all pencil. And then I started getting weird, and I started drawing stuff from my head. All of this is from my head, so I'm not really sure what it is or where it comes from. Very bizarre. But yeah, I have these people in my head, clearly. And I draw them a lot, and they're just kind of like my doodle people that I doodle a lot. This was pencil, and this is pen on black paper. And then I don't know, I doodle a lot. So like this is a little cartoon. It says love at first sight up here. And they're just like, I don't know, so weird. I don't know how to explain where this came from or what it is. But yeah, she's holding a little bag on a ladder. This is also strange too. This was when I first started experimenting with charcoal, and so we have a lot of stuff going on here. And this is kind of like my signature little, I guess, doodle that I like to go. I just draw a lot. I think when I am listening to people or I'm in class or something, I do acting and improv and stuff like that. So when I'm in class, I like to doodle. It helps me kind of pay attention. And the teachers are always like, wow, you're taking so many notes. You're so diligent. And I'm like, thank you. I know. And then this is the stuff that's on my paper. So, and yeah, this is another little drawing that I made. It's actually on my phone. It's a sticker. So yeah, kind of weird stuff. And I like line work, and a lot of my stuff I use lines and things like that. It's very weird. And this is like the woman that I guess always see in my head, and I've done a lot of figure drawing and things like that in my life, and yeah, I really find it interesting to draw people. So yeah, that's kind of it. And this is another painting. But yeah, this was my presentation. So yeah, thank you guys.
Do you want to take any questions?
Yeah, for sure.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
Do you ever think about incorporating your painting work with line painting like you were showing there with your photography, like maybe body painting and incorporating in that kind of a fashion?
Like taking a photo of someone with paint on them? No, that's interesting. One time I had an idea to like, this is super random, but to kind of get like spray, like water mixed with paint and just like spray it on people and take, but I never did that. So no, I've never really done that, but it's an interesting thing to think about. So yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody? A comment?
Romy, thanks for sharing everything with us today. I have a comment too. I've worked with lots of artists, and I think real artists create from the heart. And so you totally are an artist, because I can see that in your work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's kind. Thank you.
That's actually why I wanted you here, because every single photograph and all of your paintings, you clearly are a creative person, and you have talent, unbelievable talent. So
Thank you. That's nice.
what I want to know is, do you plan to pursue your photography more, continue on?
For sure. Yeah, even on this trip coming here, I brought my cameras and was really inspired by the landscape here. So yeah, I definitely, in I don't know what capacity, but I definitely love taking photos, and I'll probably do that for a while now. So yeah, I think there's a few more
That's great. Yeah.
other people.
I was just going to say that I think you'd have to live to like 120 to really pursue all the different talents and interests that you have, which is is really, you're fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll try. I mean, maybe I'll drink some more V8 juice or something. I don't know.
You're funny, by the way. I've
Oh,
enjoyed
thank
this.
you.
Thank you. So I can see, that you're very creative, and I'm just curious if you, it just happens, or if you meditate, or if you go into some spiritual place. I'm just curious what your practice is.
That's a good question. I don't meditate. I think it happens. A lot of the paintings and drawings you've seen, they're really just like, they come out of me, and I also write. So I think my process is really just like, if I'm inspired by something, I just do it. Like, I don't wait. Even if I'm in class and I get an idea for something, whether it's a drawing or something that I want to write, I'll just start. I always have a notebook or something with me. So, and if it's, a photograph or something I see, I always try to take a photo of it, whether it's on my phone or something. I think I don't have really a method or a place that I go to in my head that makes me able to make these things. But I think the key is just to always have something around that you can jot down an idea or take a photo of something if you're feeling inspired, which could be any time of the day, or anywhere. Yeah, so thank you.
I'm going to embarrass the hell out of you. This is the best Father's Day I've ever had. To watch you up there, I mean, I've seen all this stuff before, and you showed it to us, but and I've said this to you so many times, but you're just knocked me out. I mean, you're so talented, and, I'm nowhere near where you are in your abilities and, your writing, your acting, your photography. And, somebody was saying you're going to pursue your photography. You have all these abilities, and they can all find themselves into different areas, and films and writing and, plays, whatever. But I'm just blown away. And like I say, I love you, and it's my best Father's Day ever.
Thank you. That's kind. I'm comfortable. I was gonna say at the beginning, Happy Father's Day, but I forgot.
I have something too,
Oh, yeah.
which kind of ties into your dad just talking, and it's kind of a comment and then a question, that it's clear you have had loving support by your family to be who you are. And that's really rare. And I don't know if you know other people that have that kind of support, or how you feel about having that from your parents.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like for you? I know a lot of us probably didn't have that. In fact, I know for myself as an artist and a singer and a writer, I was totally discouraged from pursuing any of that in my youth because it was so impractical. So what is it like for you to have so much support from your family?
It's amazing. I mean, it's interesting because it's not something you necessarily think about that often, because I'm just living my life and I don't know any other kind of life where I'm not supported. So when I hear that other people obviously aren't in certain cases, it really makes me, and I obviously am very grateful and for being able to go on all these trips and things like that and to be supported by them. I think they're like so supportive that to the point where it's like I could do whatever I want. It's like fine, where it's like to the point where maybe it's too much freedom in that terms. I don't know if there's a balance of people that need to be more structured, but I definitely have had just the complete creative freedom to do all the things that I've been curious about, and I am so appreciative of that and thankful. And yeah, I think, you know, a lot of my friends are pretty in this similar place where their parents are also pretty, you know, supportive of them. So I think maybe it's the environment I grew up around, or just the kind of, I don't know, like LA vibe where it's like, yeah, do whatever you want type thing. But yeah, it's been incredible to be able to show you guys all this. And the fact is that, yeah, my parents were the ones that allowed me to do all of this. So yeah, it's amazing. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
We're good. I just have one other statement: is we would love to see you come back. I was going to wait until after this, but I'd love to see you come back in a year and see where you're at with your photography.
For sure.
And you are always welcome at Sedona Art Center to exhibit your work as well,
Oh, wow.
because
Thank
that
you.
would be fantastic to see that, all of that.
Thank
So,
you.
round of applause for Romy Reiner.
Thanks, guys.